You know how they have those games where they say, if you can have a dinner with anybody in the world, anybody you can think of, who would that be? Well, I think my new person is going to be Ann Curry after yesterday. Did you guys see her? I mean, I knew I loved her before, but now I really want to sit down and have dinner with her. So I just want to thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here. I want to thank Jeff Pulver for asking me. Putting together an amazing couple days, and also the brilliant Angela Shelton, who you just saw speak. I would not be here without her. She's my guru, she's my Yoda. She was the one who dragged me kicking and screaming into this crazy world of social media. When I was asked to speak at the 140 conference, I was actually kind of shocked because I'm really a newbie. I've only been doing this for about 22 months. So when I was putting together my chat for today, I thought, what am I going to tell you guys? What can I tell you that you don't already know? I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. But then I realized I can talk to you about what's going on behind the scenes in Hollywood and how I use social media specifically in my world. I've been a casting director for the last 30 years or so, casting everything from Porky's to Raiders of the Lost Ark to Mean Girls, Freaky Friday, E.T., and Mr. Popper's Penguins, which is coming out on Friday with Jim Carrey. And to be honest, I got into Twitter and social media to sell something. Yes, I was one of those people. I was not a believer yet. I still thought Twitter was kind of silly, and I didn't understand the power of it, but yet I wanted to harness it to use it for my own self-serving purposes, of course. I had produced an instructional DVD for actors called Marci Liroff's Boot Camp, which is available for $20 and $4 shipping and handling in the US on my website, marciliroff.com. And I tried to sell it on Twitter. And back then I was really bad at Twitter. And I don't mean she's a bad girl or I was really bad. I mean, I was just bad. I had no idea what I was doing. And I don't mind telling you that I got my ass kicked around the block a couple times by several people. But I realized finally that it's not about selling, it's about giving stuff away. So I edited my DVD into these little 5-minute clips, threw it up on YouTube, and it was all about how to get the word out to my community. How do I teach them what I know? So once I got involved in my community, everything changed. And I mean everything. All I wanted to do was to contribute great content to the community that I had jumped into on Twitter. I started doing these Ask Me Anything dialogues with actors on Twitter where they could ask me anything they wanted to, which was really different because they now had access to me. In my world of casting, okay, here we go. I really believe that the old business model of Hollywood has changed, and it is changing rapidly. It used to be the casting directors were this kind of elusive and exclusive crowd that you couldn't get to. Now, with social media, those walls were coming down. I was getting hit on left and right on Facebook, and all these actors wanted to be my friends, and I didn't really want to have them on my personal page, so I started a fan page on Facebook, or a like page, or whatever the hell they're calling it these days. It seems to keep changing all the time. But I put myself out there on Facebook and Twitter, and I finally realized that with my years of experience, all the years I've been doing this in this business, I actually had some wisdom. And why am I keeping it to myself? Why don't I help people? Why don't I share all this wisdom in a meaningful way? You know, we've been talking the past couple days about real time. And real time in social media has completely changed my business. All this technology has completely changed what I do. It used to be when I would do a search for an actor, I would get in a plane and travel across the country and do open calls. Now with social media, I can literally do it in my pajamas from home. I send out a press release, I'll set up a website, and actors can submit themselves. It's so easy. But what it comes with good and bad, because what it also does is my producers and my filmmakers and my team are now expecting me to pull a rabbit out of my hat at a moment's notice, because everything is so fast. So it's changed my life significantly. It's made things a lot easier, but it's also made the expectations in this real-time world very, very, very fast. It's still, you know, all this doesn't take the place of actually being in the room with someone. You know, it helps narrow down our choices, and then the face-to-face is very important. In fact, the last movie I did, one of the actors that got a lead part, we hired through Skype. She did her audition with the director directing her through Skype while she taped her audition. So it's great to work with filmmakers that are also really into the technology, because sometimes they're not. So at the end of last year, I got a tweet from, you know what, I'm going to switch it up, seeing as I have 3 minutes and I'm talking longer than I thought. Here's an example of how I use Twitter. I was at a dinner party, and I was seated next to a producer from the show Glee, and I was in the throes of casting this part in a TV series that I was doing for Paul Reiser. The role of his son was a boy who's in a wheelchair, and in his real life, his son is in a wheelchair. So we were weighing, do we hire an actor or do we hire a kid who's really in a chair? So I asked the producer, how did you guys deal with this? Because the actor that they have hired, Kevin McHale, who plays Artie, really does not use a wheelchair. I said, how did you guys deal with this? Did you take any flack? And he said, well, I didn't really have a choice. We only saw 3 people. And I said, 3 people, how's that possible? He said, that's all the casting people brought me. And I thought, wow, in the last week, I've reached out on Twitter to the Christopher Reeve Foundation. They hooked me up with other organizations. Word spread. And at the end of about 5 or 6 days, I had 53 little boys put themselves on tape and send in theher auditions, all just through the power of Twitter. One of these kids was actually very good, but his tape was, the quality was not very good. So I asked his mom, I called her in Indiana, I believe, asked her to do it again, tape him again. And she said, he's busy. He's busy this week, but he'll get to you at the end of the week. So I thought, what is this kid doing that he can't send me his tape? At the end of the week, I get his tape. It's unfortunately not strong enough to get the part, but I called her just to say thank you, because it was so great that she did this. And she said, no, 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 thank you. I have to tell you that all he could talk about this week was doing this audition. You know, he had to have his feet amputated this week. And he wasn't even thinking about that. All he wanted to do was retape his audition for you. He didn't care whether he got the part or not. So I thank you. So through the power of Twitter, I reached out, she reached out, and we touched each other, and it's pretty amazing. So of course, now I was officially hooked, right? This thing really works. How just a very large community of strangers become a small community of friends helping each other out, because that's really what it's all about. It's all about reaching out. It's no more about me, me, me. It's about, we're no longer living in this world of isolation. With this amazing invention of social media, it brings us that much closer on a global level, and I just can't really wait to see what's next. So thank you so much for making me part of the coolest club in town. I'm Marci Liroff, and I Twitter.
Thank you, Marci.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.